What's up, y'all? Today's what's today? Today's the 8th of October 2025. My name is Evan Strong, the founder of In the Image Clothing Company. This video is titled Why We Chose Poodles. We have a fourth of our company that is In the Image Clothing Company Poodles. I'll talk about each of the four sides of In the Image Clothing Company briefly, and then we'll get into this why I actually chose, as the founder, poodles. Out of all dog breeds that we have, we'll talk first about what this is. In the Image Clothing Company Poodles, we chose one breed to specialize in, purebred standard poodles, to let dogs stay natural. And to give all the information that we do through that, living in a modern man-made world, us human beings, we get altered, if we do, and our dogs do as well. So we let dogs stay natural in all the same ways we do on the main side of In the Image Clothing Company when it comes to allowing the human body to work, right? We allow the body to work through clothing. So I guess I'll basically start talking about the first side of us, the main side of In the Image Clothing Company, and I'll come back over here to In the Image Clothing Company Poodles, because we do the same thing for human beings and dogs. Allowing the body to work comes through clothing. It's placed physically on us, and our bodies are placed physically on Earth. We have a center line, the sternum, the spine, the trachea, the nose, and our jaw. The jaw is naturally stabilizing the entire body, and all musculature only contracts, meaning getting shorter, and it connects to the center line. We've got feet that grip arches inward, that keep us vertical, and Earth has a center of gravity that it pulls down on everything with. When we place clothing on our bodies, it has to stay centered, fit correct, where I discuss when I talk about where clothing sits, which I won't do in here, but check out the main side of In the Image Clothing Company for that, and be made from 100% natural materials. Unnatural materials are new. We talk about the man-made world and how it's just placed onto God's natural earth, okay? We get altered and our dogs get altered by a lot of things. For us, imbalances in clothing, oversized clothing, ropes introduced to the body through shoelaces and drawstrings, really altering the whole body. So we allow the body to work through eating, standing, sleeping, sitting, walking, breathing, hydration, all the things we talk about for both human beings and dogs, because the man-made world, the slippery flat flooring, all these flat things when we have arches to our gripped feet and our hands, it doesn't accommodate for the ways that our bodies work, both the bodies of human beings and dogs. So we do all that for both of us, okay? Letting dogs stay natural, allowing the body to work. So human being clothing, InTheImageClothingCompany.com, okay? Dog products, collars, leashes, harnesses, similar type things, InTheImageClothingCompany.com. But here's the thing, with letting dogs stay natural, back to In the Image Clothing Company Poodles, where we are here, we, have a lot that happens in modern man-made 2025. And our dogs really just need help, in a sense. I mean, they just do. Dogs are domesticated, and they're not able to just operate naturally in this modern man-made world. We control their food. We control when they get to drink things to hydrate them. We really are in charge of our dogs completely, and that's completely different than how animals are in nature. So, letting dogs stay natural, why did we choose a specific breed? And why is that breed poodles? Okay, there's two other sides to In the Image Clothing Company. In the Image Clothing Company podcast, we have deep discussions on, oh my gosh, on the gospel of Jesus Christ. I just choked so much. We're on episode 166 of In the Image Clothing Company podcast. We just talk about life as it is, right? The truth of all things, because we're all human beings placed on the same earth. We have one God, and we discuss him as he says that he is, although imperfectly, because we're not perfect, but he is perfect, okay? So there you go. Good insights on life. A lot of information, lengthy podcast episodes, and I get in depth with it. In the Image Clothing Company style, if you will. Blunt, bold, raw, and real, okay? And then we've got the last fourth of us to mention, In the Image Clothing Company music. I show a lot of the sizing and setup of guitar to not alter things like the neutral wrist. In addition to the center line of the body, every joint, and this is for dogs as well, but in the human body, also has a neutral position, right? Straight out from the forearm, down the pinky finger is that neutral wrist, and then there's motion all outside of that. So the body has to reside in its neutrals, and that's what I show when it comes to playing guitar. And that's what we do with clothing placed on us or dog products placed on the dogs. Let's not alter them, okay? The human bodies or the dogs. I do a lot of lyricism there as well, geared around the gospel of Jesus Christ, just all the music that I make through singing and guitar and rap, if you will, rhythm and poetry. Check it out if you'd like. Okay, there's a little bit of the four sides of us, but here on In the Image Clothing Company Poodles, that's the big thing. Why poodles? Why poodles of any dog breed? There's a lot of beautiful dog breeds. There's a lot of beautiful dog breeds that I personally not only just like because I just really like dogs in general, but there's a lot of dog breeds that I love as the founder of In the Image Clothing Company. But poodles, they're very, very much like human beings. And this is something that gets talked about by owners of poodles, is their dogs really act like they're a person. They act like they're a member of the family. Poodles are the second smartest dog breed, statistically, at least as of this time period, what they've measured. And they're witty, they're silly, they're very, very, very in tune with their owners. When it comes to service animals, therapy dogs, service dogs, emotional support dogs, and these type of real strong bond between human and dog connections, poodle is often one of the first go-to breeds for those type of dogs. And so what we do under In the Image Clothing Company, we have our goal being natural under all four sides of us. I understand the noise. Okay, that's that real part and raw part of blunt, bold In the Image Clothing Company, okay? Yeah, okay. Because that's another thing that we do, actually, before I get any further into it. Events that we have, some of them are poodle parade events. Under the main side of In the Image Clothing Company, we'll have the events if and where and how we do. But under In the Image Clothing Company Poodles, we're based here in the state of Utah, the United States of America, In the Image Clothing Company. We've got mountains like this and many of them. The entire state is covered in mountains, you know, where it is. I mean, the Rocky Mountain Range, parks, waterways, rivers, lakes, things like this, poodle parade events. Bring your poodles, purebred of any size or mixed of any size, and we'll have a lot of fun just in nature, just hanging out like a family reunion, but also where I'll give information on letting dogs stay natural, okay, what we really talk about here. Okay, so there's a lot of beautiful stuff we do, and poodles, man, if you want a dog breed to mesh with you, to really be so connected with you, poodles, like I'm saying, one of the highest percentile of dog breeds that are just so eager to please their owners. Their intelligence really helps with their ability to do that, but they're like locked onto you. People call them clingy dogs, okay? If you're not so into a dog that's very clingy, that will want to be by your side always, you do not want a poodle, okay? But we love that because that's the whole thing, is we allow ourselves to get connected with God's truth under In the Image Clothing Company. We have the goal being natural, like I said. Everything comes back to just nature. Everything comes back to really connection as well. That's what I say in the Image Clothing Company Poodle Parade events. Yes. Man, this is going to hit me hard. Because a lot of what we do, I label it as, or word it as, family reunions. Just hanging out, having a good time together. And there's a golden retriever right there. You know, a lot of what dogs can do for people is bring them back to nature. Allow them to be more like a child again and get them connected with their roots and liven them up. It can really allow people to have an easier time creating connections when maybe they've had things in their life or just certain like personality traits, traumatic events, whatever it could be, maybe even just their own personality naturally. They might just not get along with people so easily, just human beings. What dogs can do for these type of people is really give them a companion. And more so in the way than just, you know, a lot of dogs can give people a sense of companionship. A lot of dogs can really be there for you, but poodles, it's really like they're a human being. They really look into you and understand you and communicate with you in a different way than at least just about any other dog breed. And really what we're doing, a lot of what we do, in a lot of ways, on all the sides of In The Image Clothing Company, I really might cry because I made a video last night. It was a podcast episode 166 of In The Image Clothing Company podcast, titled Your Life as a Journal. And I cried my eyes out. I cried so hard in there. And what it was about was when I did our intro, where I talk about each of the 4 sides of In The Image Clothing Company, I got to In The Image Clothing Company Poodles, and I just bawled. I just cried and cried and cried. And I actually did that on another episode of In The Image Clothing Company podcast when I very first announced, back like the first 3-ish months into 2025, it was around March maybe, I announced it as, at first, In The Image Clothing Company Dogs. And then I realized, well, we're going to be specializing in purebred standard poodles. And so we'll just label it In The Image Clothing Company Poodles, so they know what we do specifically, but then our information applies to all dogs, except for things that are very specific to poodles. Certain grooming things, temperament things, for poodles specifically. Other than that, yeah, we just give information when it comes to letting dogs stay natural, and just all the things we do, feeding, hydration, grooming for dogs, and us interacting with our dogs as owners to not alter our bodies. Our information applies to all dogs, okay? Give or take the very few little things that would be specific to poodles. So my heart's in this, and it's in this so deeply. It's not just that I have a love for dogs only, but poodles specifically. I relate to poodles. If you talk to dog owners, you know that it's really common for people to say you can see the owner in their dog. You can see what kind of dog people choose because of the kind of personality they have, and we mesh with our dogs. And really, usually, if we choose what dog breed we get, and if we do it intentionally because of the dog breed we feel the most connected with, what that usually happens to bring with it is us getting a dog breed that's a lot like us as the owner. Because, like I'm saying, we want to feel understood, and we want somebody who we can have a really good connection with. And even if we have people like that in our lives, it's so amazing to have a dog that you just feel so connected to on just an entirely different level than you could really get from anything else. Animals, and especially dogs, they get called man's best friend. They have more of an unconditional love than human beings can. They're just different. They play a different role on God's earth. It's actually just unreal, the kind of connection that a dog can have with you and that you can have with a dog. And a lot of people don't know these things. A lot of people don't understand the depth of relationship between a dog and their owner. And, that's a lot of what we do. We debunk myths about dogs, like why they don't listen, but also, relational things between the dog and the owner. We do a lot under In The Image Clothing Company Poodle and In The Image Clothing Company Poodles. I am so humbled by this because this is what we're really doing. In the Image Clothing Company podcast, we get so real with it, so deep with it. Our goal is to be the most authentic us that we can be, because we can't be anything else. And a lot of times we don't feel like we have a vulnerable enough place in life, or a safe enough or a comfortable enough place to just be ourselves and to just open up, to be authentic, to actually have that depth of relationship, because maybe there's people in our lives that we wish we had, let's say it like that, and we don't have the best relationships around us. Dogs can do so much for people, and poodles specifically are just so in tune with their owners. Their intelligence, like I said, is one of those things that really, really helps with that. A lot of dogs have a lot of empathy, and they really can tell what their owners need, but poodles are so smart. And they're so silly, they're so lighthearted, they do weird things. They're like clowns, right? They use poodles in circuses, and that's a lot of where they went from the standard sized poodle down to a mini, which is actually a medium sized dog. They bred them down in size to minis for both hunting out things like truffles, which are actually mushrooms as far as I'm aware, and they use them in circuses because they're so silly. They're really quite the character. They have such complex personalities, even more so than other dog breeds, and well in their own unique way. I mean, all dog breeds are unique in the ways they are, but yeah, they're silly. They make you laugh, and they know what you need. They'll give you attention. There's so many people that really need a dog, and a lot of people don't understand that. You know, we advocate for being a good owner of dogs and keeping less dogs in shelters and more dogs at homes. As we breed purebred standard poodles, we advocate for and show breeding properly, registering our dogs, you know, microchipping the dogs, which is a beautiful technology that we didn't have just, you know, in the past, just a little while back, that can really help almost ensure that we can get our dogs back to their owners if they get out or get lost, they lose a collar with the information on it. The microchips placed between the shoulder blades of the dog is just a really small little, about the size of a grain of rice thing that you just inject underneath the skin. And we really advocate for a lot of good things with dogs, and again, applying to all dogs, but we do it through poodles because it's really like having a best friend who understands you so deeply, and in a way to where, well, you'll be able to see, you know, we'll do so much under the gift of video as we do in the Image Clothing Company. I mean, that's a huge part of what we are, is just videos. Always, for the life of Evan Strong, me as the founder of In The Image Clothing Company, that's how it will always be. You know, filming the litters as they get born, if we get the chance to, you know, each litter, and just filming all that we do with dogs, giving so much free information, having good products to sell for all dogs, like I'm saying. I, personally, Evan Strong, I need a dog being in the position I'm in, under In The Image Clothing Company, what could just be dogs, but poodles specifically is what we are. I need that. I need a dog breed that will be so in tune with me and be able to do everything that I do. Go to all the events I go to, run In The Image Clothing Company, and understand me and listen well. I need a very obedient dog, a dog that's smart enough to learn, you know, not just basic obedience, but to really be able to be given cues. I mean, dogs are very smart. Poodles are a higher percentile, and it's not some kind of comparison, it's just the case, than almost every other dog breed besides Border Collie. That's the smartest dog, you know, technically, statistic-wise, is a Border Collie. And so having these poodles, they just have such a blend of amazing traits. And they're what we need as In The Image Clothing Company. I might cry out, I'm serious. Because of what we do here. And a lot of people maybe don't know, you know, maybe you just stumbled across In The Image Clothing Company and you don't know who we are yet. Or maybe we're just, you know, it's misunderstood by you. We're not just about clothing. We're definitely not about fashion. We're about allowing the body to work on the main side of In The Image Clothing Company. We're about letting dogs stay natural. We're about giving people just insights on life and teaching them about who they can actually rely on, discussing the gospel of Jesus Christ, which just means the good news of our God. We make good music with deep, good messages to really help people wake up, if you will, give people awareness of truth and help people feel understood through what we share in our music, because a lot of people feel so much more alone than they actually are, because often people don't really open their mouths nowadays and then talk about what they're going through and relate to each other, even though we all really can relate to each other if we actually speak what's happening. But we live in a modern man-made world. There's so much technology. We get so lost in all these beliefs and all of these ways that the world tells us to cope with things, and go hide in your corner instead of coming together and figuring things out. And that's what I'm saying. Family reunions, you know, poodle parade events, they're about bringing people together, getting people in nature that wouldn't otherwise be there because they just maybe can't justify going because they don't know why they really would, other than they'd love to see the mountains or see just open plains and fields, go to the lake or a river or a park. But why would I really go? other than I know it'd make me feel good, but dogs give us these reasons to do things, to get back to nature, to get grounded again, you know, and to just get back onto God's earth. Some people are just trapped in cities, you know, and they need to experience the truth. They need to experience what actually lasts. All the man-made things decompose, and the only way we actually feel whole is in nature. We're human beings. We're essentially kind of animals, really. We're not meant to be in these concrete jungles, you know, cities. And neither are the dogs either. Poodles are a breed specifically that just mesh exactly with what we need here. To do what we need to do here. To bring smiles to people when they see a cute poodle. And you've got some pretty elaborate haircuts. Poodles have hair rather than fur. And sometimes those haircuts alone, it just like makes somebody laugh or smile or makes them happy inside, you know, brings joy to them they haven't felt in a long time. And these dogs, you know, the reason for standard size specifically, there's a lot of reasons to that, but a big thing is you can actually hug a dog. Again, people maybe don't have people in their life that they can actually have physical contact with and actually hug or hold. And we need that. We need connection as human beings in the ways that we do, and it's just a natural need as beings that are wired to be in connection with each other, that live in a modern world that just preaches a lot of separation and segregation and pushes people out and away. And these dogs, you know, especially the standard size, I mean, you can actually really hug and hold a dog. You can sleep with a dog next to you, and it's there. And then the poodle is just having such a high motivation to please their owners. They just want to make you happy, and they can really tell without you saying anything when you need something. When it comes to service animals, poodles are one of those dogs that gets used the most because of these qualities and traits that have been bred into what is the modern day poodle. And there are some people that literally cannot even go outside their own house without their poodle, without their therapy dog, their service dog, their emotional support dog. There's people that will literally go into cardiac arrest or break down in seizures or things like epilepsy. Yeah. People who will literally actually die if there's nobody else around and if their dog wasn't around. These dogs go through years of training to become animals that can actually legitimately save lives. Not in just a way where, yes, it's still saving lives, but it might be like somebody's looking at it like an opinion. Oh, you don't really need a dog. Some of these dogs actually, I mean, they can stop seizures. They can press panic buttons and call 911 or just, you know, the hospital to get people to come help this person, and they're trained to know when to do these things and how to. And poodles are really just, they're the dog for this. There's a lot of really smart dogs, there's a lot of dogs that can do these things, but poodles, man, I love them. It's so much more than just breeding cute puppies. It's so much more than trying to have a dog a part of our company for the sake of advertisement for what we do. It's so much more than just trying to have another company selling products. It's a lot, and it's deep, and poodles specifically are what's going to allow all this to happen. Through In The Image Clothing Company Poodles. So there's a lot that comes with poodles, and shoot, they're the dog to do this with. Okay, purebred, we advocate for proper breeding and the pureness to an actual purebred dog. So there are wasps all over what's holding this camera up, and so I think that's what was on my head just then. Anyway, I could make this video very long, but I've got a lifetime of this. I am in this for life. Evan Strong, as the founder of In The Image Clothing Company, we will be able to work with brands and companies and people in all sorts of ways. People like kids with special needs or adults with special needs, and special needs in whatever aspect that could mean. Needs that are specific to somebody that most all other people don't have to focus on. And these dogs can be a 24/7 lifetime by your side aid, trained to give you exactly what you need, and often without you even asking them. So there's a lot that comes with this, and poodles are what we're doing, man. I will have a poodle with me. That's what I was saying a few minutes ago. I need a dog that I can do all this with and trust that that dog can handle it. A lot of dogs are wonderful in certain environments, around certain amounts of people, around certain amounts of noise. A lot of dogs' physical size and capability wise are good in certain places, but then in other places they're limited. A standard size poodle, that's another reason for the size specification, why we specify in the large poodles, and they're big. It's good for the health of our bodies. And I've talked about this, and this is one of those things, like I was just saying, we will always talk about the things that we do, because that's the things that we do, but the reasons as to why as well. I'm 6'2" tall. I'm well above average for all humans on the earth. I'm tall. And in order for me to interact with a dog and still have In the Image Clothing Company's allowing the body to work focus be in play, I need a dog that's tall enough that I don't have to bend down at all to pet. If I were to pet a dog down here, I'm just wrenching on my whole body every time I go down to interact with my dog. As I hold a leash, my dog's pulling me. And again, we show how to hold leashes properly and all the things that come with this, and you know, both owners and dogs being affected by things that are just in life, but then each other as well. We talk about so much, and the standard size is just ideal. They're great family dogs. They're great with kids. They're so gentle. They really don't need all that much exercise. It's not like they're a cattle dog where you have to walk them all the time, or let them run all the time, or at least play fetch with them, you know, every day. Or a sheep dog, you know, these working dogs that are bred to just run, like a husky, right? And there's times and places for those dogs. I'm not talking down on those type of dogs, but for what we do, and just correlating it with our whole company and our whole focus, our whole goal, natural, our whole approach of just authenticity, our whole blunt, bold, raw, real, we're doing a lot of things all over the place, and we need a dog that can just do it with us without us having to carry the dog at times, without the dog getting too tired, without the dog being too yappy for environments where we're around a lot of people at events, right? We need a good dog breed to mesh with what we do under all four sides of what we really are here as In the Image Clothing Company, and that is the poodle, and specifically the standard size. So these are the reasons, some of them, and there's many. It's also really cool to be able to be so connected with your dog, to learn, and we'll show how to cut your dog's hair by yourself. You don't have to take your dog to the groomers. We'll give information on how to do it at home. You don't have to take your dog to go get his nails trimmed. We'll show you how to do these things at home. Bathing your dogs and keeping your dogs healthy in all the ways. We will show these things. Feeding dogs and at proper heights so they don't get a lot of air into their digestive system, like us human beings we talk about on the main side of In the Image Clothing Company. Just eating neutrally so that our bodies don't get altered. You know, we'll just give so much information in all the ways we do, and it's so deep. It's more than just, hey, let's focus on keeping our dog collar centered like us human beings, because the musculature that goes through the collar that can affect our entire bodies if the collar's not balanced. But it's more than just this and this and this and this, and I could say so many things here, but that's what I am saying is we do so much around poodles. And check out, that's great, yeah, episode 166 of In the Image Clothing Company podcast, titled Your Life as a Journal. And I talked about a lot of what I'm saying here, and this fourth of our company, In the Image Clothing Company Poodles, and I was just crying and crying and crying so hard. It was such a beautiful gratitude release, just thanking God for what I know is to come. And so stick around for it. As of today's date, I personally don't have any poodles yet. And we are growing as In the Image Clothing Company. I'm not here to found this for a time and then go do something else with my life. I label myself as the founder of In the Image Clothing Company, and that's how I will always explain what I am to this, but I am in this for the life of me, Evan Strong. So as time progresses, we'll get more context on things and we'll have more documentation. The gift of video is just unreal. I word it like that. I mention it often. I have. Check out past content before today's date of In The Image Clothing Companies on any of the 4 sides where I've said it. I just talk about how much I love video. I make one video today and it's valid for the rest of my life. And we can give so much information. We can help so many owners of dogs across the earth, so many dogs across the earth. We can legitimately change lives through this and add lifespan to dogs by unrestricting them, feeding them properly before the dogs even come to be, health testing dogs and breeding them properly. There's so much that comes with this. And poodles, specifically poodles, they are just amazing. I'll say a few more things. I'll say as many things as I say in this as to why we chose poodles specifically to be under In The Image Clothing Company's dog fourth, because poodles pretty much do not drool at all. I do not like dogs that drool. I don't like drool on me. I like to stay relatively clean and, well, allow my body to work, right? I don't like to have to think about, hey, if I'm going in this person's car, are they going to mind the dog drool? If I'm going to take my dog to this person's house, is the drool going to bother them and ruin their furniture, their carpet, their flooring, or get on their clothing? Dogs are more approachable to people when they're not just slobbering. And I'm not being mean to those dogs that slobber. It's a natural thing for the dogs that it's a natural thing for. But for us human beings, we can stay so much cleaner if our dogs aren't drooling on us. And they're an animal. They'll drool where they do, but really just about not at all. Poodles, it's just in their genes. That's just how they are. There are reasons like this. When I say poodles are such a beautifully unique, specific dog breed, it's these things that are very specific to poodles. Their temperament is just so great. It's very rare to find an aggressive poodle. You can get an aggressive dog in any breed, and they can come from having a background of trauma or mistreatment. They can cause that. But poodles are generally just such sweet dogs, and they don't shed. Hair will come out of the dog every now and then, like a human being. They really shed about as much as human beings do. You know, you're in the shower, you're running your fingers through your hair, and some hair comes out. That's about how much, give or take, pretty much like that though, that poodles shed. They don't have a bunch of fur you have to get off your carpet and your sofa and your clothing because they have hair. It's much different. They're labeled as what's called hypoallergenic. That doesn't mean that they're truly allergy-free, but they are a dog that people who do have allergies to dogs usually are okay with. And they have less dander, you know, the little dry skin, flaky stuff than other dogs because of these reasons. There's a lot to poodles, and the reason why we specifically chose poodles to be our fourth In The Image Clothing Company poodles. And they're just so gentle. When you watch a poodle walk, I talk about poodle posture. I mean, we talk about keeping the human body working in its only neutral position on Earth's gravity, which people call posture. Really, there's just only one way the human body works, in its neutral positions. And I talk about how poodles have this poodle posture. They stand so proper looking, and they walk so gentle and soft, and they're just gentle dogs. Not to compare again, but just for the sake of the reasons we choose poodles over other dog breeds, a lot of dog breeds are pretty aggressive physically. Even when they're being nice, like good dogs, they just kind of plow into things. They hit you with their paws, and you know, they're very like solid musculature, you know, to them. Poodles are very soft and gentle and light, and it's like they kind of prance around like you picture a deer. They can jump so ridiculously high as well. So athletic, so agile. They were in the sporting breed of dogs, but I don't think they are anymore. But they were bred to be water waterfowl retrievers, right? Like a Labrador retriever or golden retriever, you know, hunting dogs that go and retrieve the birds. And so a lot of what we do under In The Image Clothing Company Poodles, there's a lot to say in this, yeah. I'll say as much as I say, like I said, that I would, is getting people used to things, right? Like I was mentioning, getting people into nature that otherwise just don't really get the chance to be. Poodles love water. Again, every dog has its own individual personality to a degree, but they were bred initially to be water dogs. That's what poodle means. I think it's a German word. It means to splash in water or to splash in a puddle, something like that, translated into English. Poodles love the water, and a lot of people want to get in the water or want to be more comfortable with the water, and their dogs can help them with that. The poodles, right? It's kind of like therapy, where water in itself is therapy for people, right? They do that for physical therapy to get motion back into joints. They do it for, you know, emotional therapy for people, just, you know, swimming and swimming lessons and these things. Dogs can help people with this, and poodles, just the breed itself being bred to be water dogs, when we do things like Clean the Creek specific poodle parade events, we'll be in river areas and water areas, picking up trash and helping the environment. And whatever else we do, if and where around water, and then just information we give as well, poodles can really help people get used to the water and be more safe in it, more comfortable in it, and also just experience it. You know, we can go to beautiful waterfall places up here in the mountains in Utah at poodle parade events and just see some amazing nature. We can do just photography. You know, whoever you are, bring your cameras and just wildlife photography. We'll come across animals that are here in Utah, you know, white-tailed deer, and well, we just have a lot of animals. Look up the animals in Utah if you don't know. If you're from Utah, you know we've got a lot of beautiful wildlife and just scenery, so our dogs can be there. Maybe you're a photographer, come to a poodle parade event, and the poodles will get us into a location where you can just do landscape photography. I used to be a photographer, so I understand the beauty of Utah's mountains, where I have always lived here in the state of Utah. I've been here my whole life. I'm native to Utah. I've done so much photography in the mountains, and having a dog there, and then you can do shoots with your dog. I mean, these poodles will give us so many opportunities, and it will just be amazing. So, yep, there's a lot to it, okay? Specifically choosing this dog breed, not just because they're cute, not just because of one reason, 2 reasons, 5 reasons, not just because of 50 reasons. There are so many reasons, and you'll see just as time progresses, as we do more, as I put more videos out, as we have more products to be available. As of today's date, we don't have any products yet available under In The Image Clothing Company for human beings or dogs, but as you see what we're allowed to do through having poodles, and what not only we can do for the breed itself, furthering good bloodlines of poodle, but also just all dog breeds and giving good information on letting any dog breed stay natural and healthy. We will also have so much be done for human beings through dogs, and our avenue as In The Image Clothing Company Poodles is specifically the breed of poodle, and specifically standard size. So these are a lot of the reasons as to why we chose specifically the breed poodles and the large size dog. So as time goes on, as time progresses, you'll see these things. You'll see these things deepen. You'll see things line up that I've been talking about, because I have been talking about In The Image Clothing Company Poodles since about March 2025, and it's October 2025 today. This, the 8th of October 2025 is today's date. So you'll just see. I've said so much before we ever have the poodles, so that when they come, there's this background context. Just like I've talked so much about any product we'll ever have under In The Image Clothing Company, just meaning human being clothing and dog products, so that when it comes, we have all the context on what it is, why it's here, why you'd be interested in it, okay? So when we have our very first Poodle Parade event, we will at least have had all of this background discussion when I talk about the 4 sides of In The Image Clothing Company. Anywhere that I do in our intros, I talk about Poodle Parade events, although I don't even have yet, as of today's date that I'm making this video, my own purebred standard poodle. Her name will be Nita, N-I-T-A, to even host a Poodle Parade event. But when we have it, we have all this context, background documentation leading up to planning, if you will, of what they will be, so that we can just do them right away and people will have already had the opportunity to know about them, okay? And this is how I'm doing this, is I'm laying a foundation before we actually do a lot of the things that we're just not quite doing yet, because in order to do them well, we need context on what they are and why you'd be involved. Involve Yourself is an episode of In The Image Clothing Company podcast's title. And yes, please, come to Poodle Parade events. I mean, we'll have as many dogs and as many people as we want, meaning as many as can come. We'll do them in beautiful locations. We'll get to state parks and we'll get to see things through these dogs that we just wouldn't otherwise see. We'll get to have experiences through these dogs that we just wouldn't otherwise experience. And like I say, when it comes to what we're focusing on, what our goal is through the poodles we breed, selecting specific mom and dad, if you will, poodle parents to breed puppies, is do everything dogs. Like our do everything clothing or our do everything dog products. Our clothing under In The Image Clothing Company will be clothing you can work in, but you can play in and you can sleep in and you can do everything, because it allows the body to work, and so it's comfortable to do everything in our lives with. And that's what I was saying about the need that I personally, as the founder of In The Image Clothing Company, have for specifically the poodle dog breed, because they are a dog that can go everywhere with you, and well, they can handle noises, they can handle crowds of people, they can handle a lot of exercise, at least the standard size, right? Just a smaller dog just has a harder time getting over bigger things. So me personally, I do so much in nature. I do so much walking. I, as the founder of In The Image Clothing Company, will be hosting Poodle Parade events, and a lot of them will be hikes. Not necessarily that big of hikes, maybe sometimes, but normally pretty mild hikes. But poodles are a go everywhere, do everything dog. They're content. They'll just be focused on you more than all the things around you. And you know, a degree of that comes through good basic obedience training, but naturally the breed itself is just amazing tempered. And so there are so many reasons we specifically chose poodles, okay? And these are a lot of them, and just stick around. I've said it so many times in videos I've filmed before today's date, but stick around for the poodles. That's what I've said at the end of probably 100+ videos as of today's date that I've filmed under any of the sides of In The Image Clothing Company that I've said that in. So please, I'm not asking you to do it for me. I'm just saying, if you'd like this information, just know it's coming. Know that that's why I'm mentioning it, is to let people know, to give context. If you need a really good collar for your dog, because who doesn't? It's like, if you need good clothing, well, who doesn't? Everybody wears clothing. Then that's what we will always have under InTheImageClothingCompany.com. And you know, slip leads, they're a beautiful thing. I like slip leads much more than leashes in a lot of ways, but we'll talk about a lot of the reasons as to why. And just know, any product we ever put out, it will be applicable to all dogs, unless there really is some specific reason it wouldn't be. And it will be good. It will do what our whole slogan is: letting dogs stay natural. We can't be altering our dogs. It just is placed on their spine. When we have a collar on them, just pulling down on their neck, curving their whole spine differently than it would naturally work, down to their tail and out to their jaw, which is stabilizing their body as well. And so showing all these things through poodles, you'll just be able to see why we're even here as a company, why we even matter, why this is something that's important, and why we're valid, why we focus on collars, and why we focus on clothing for human beings. And you know, even for people who aren't dog owners, dog lovers, you can watch our videos and see just the cuteness of the poodles, and watch and learn education through breeding that you might not otherwise be able to see, but we'll show it under In the Image Clothing Company Poodles. A lot of the behind the scenes things, like veterinarian type stuff, deworming of dogs and vaccinations where that's needed. You know, a lot of things with dogs will just be able to be shown through In the Image Clothing Company Poodles, to give awareness, to give education, to advocate for good things when people have bad views on dogs. And then us having really good, well-behaved dogs. Again, every dog is an individual, but it's a gift, what we're able to show through this. And like I'm saying, a huge part of it is just video, just the gift of video. It can live on forever. Human beings across the entire other side of the globe can see what we're doing here in the state of Utah, the United States of America, and we can give them information they wouldn't otherwise have to help their life personally in all the ways that we do that, help their life as an owner of a dog as well, and then help their dog. There's so much we do, and poodles just fit. They fit what we do, and they're just amazing. My heart is in it to the point of what you can see / hear in episode 166 of In the Image Clothing Company podcast, titled Your Life as a Journal. When I I poured my heart out with what's going on, and that wasn't even my intention going into that episode when I started filming it. And you'll just see, as time progresses, you'll see why we chose poodles. If you had a view on poodles at the beginning, before ever coming across In the Image Clothing Company, that they were just silly dogs and they were like they were bred to be in ways, clown dogs, and you think that they're just maybe purse dogs, you know, toy-sized poodles. You see people putting them in their purses, and they've got this really, you know, done-up hairdo with bows in their hair, you know, and you might look at that, which there's nothing wrong with those things, but you might think that they're just like this preppy, primpy dog, but they're very, very athletic. They're good working dogs. They're extremely smart, and yeah, I mean, there's so much to them. So one big thing that I'll mention in this as well is a lot of people are turned off by the hair. They don't want to have to take their dog to the groomer every, what they think is, month, and pay $100 or whatever it is, right? Just a lot of money to have their dog's hair cut. But that's another thing we show, again, just debunking myths and misconceptions of things with dogs, just all dogs in general. One of those things is the grooming of poodles. You can just take clippers like you get your hair cut with and cut your dog all one length. Your purebred standard poodle, miniature poodle, toy poodle, moyenne size poodle, which is like between mini and standard, right? They call them giant poodles in some parts of the earth, the standard size, because they can be very big dogs, but that's really great for what we do under In the Image Clothing Company Poodles, and the reason why large dogs are very beneficial for the human body as well. You can take those clippers and just do the entire poodle one length of haircut. It's easy, you can do it by yourself. It really does not take very long, and it's free. Once you purchase the clippers, vacuum up the hair, sweep up the hair, and you're done. So a lot of it is things like this, where if people would love a dog, but it's like, I don't know, it's too much work, so many toys I have to buy, and you do not. We actually advocate for just about no toys for your dogs. Your dog, we get into the reasons as to why, a lot of unnatural materials in toys, but also just, you know, you don't need these things. Your dog naturally wouldn't have these toys. It would just be a dog. And letting dogs stay natural, it's how would they be if they were just unaltered, if there wasn't man-made things not only placed on them, but also given to them? You know, treats and things like this, people think, well, I have to give my dog a treat all the time, and that's costly. No, feed your dog just food. If you're going to give your dog a treat to reward it for training, give it one piece of kibble, the food you already feed it. It doesn't know the difference. It's just rewarding it with something that it wants for what it's done, a good behavior. And so it's a lot of these things, right? Debunking myths on why dogs aren't as expensive as people think, why dogs aren't as much work as people think, why dogs don't actually need as much exercise in the form of going on walks as people maybe can't quite give them, but they'd love a dog if they were able to give them the amount of exercise they think they need. We do a lot of these things, and poodles are the breed for us to be doing it with, because they are just, I don't know if I worded it like this earlier, but this is how I could word it. They're locked on. They look at you as their owner, and they're just like looking at you as if you're their entire world. Again, every dog can have its own specific temperament, but poodles are just, they're amazing. They are good with kids. Again, every dog can have its own specific temperament, but they're good. They're great. I mean, you'll see a lot of what we do and a lot of what comes, just a lot of the situations we'll be able to be placed into because we do what we do through poodles will be awesome. You know, things for the environment, things with non-profit type organizations and helping individuals, helping through therapies and helping through training of dogs, even if it's just for giving information or advocation for, you know, proper, at least relatively good obedience. All of these things that we can do through poodles specifically that we wouldn't really be able to do the way that we do things under In The Image Clothing Company through any other dog breed. Just not quite the same, at least. So there's a lot, and there's a lot, and a lot, okay? And so that's what I'll say for now. Today is the 8th of October, 2025. My name is Evan Strong. I'm in this for life. So I'm the one behind this, In The Image Clothing Company as a whole, In The Image Clothing Company Poodles specifically for this. And come involve yourself, watch our videos, learn the information that you have been maybe wishing you had on just what we talk about, because really we can replace the word natural with healthy, and those can be synonyms. Letting dogs stay natural is the same thing as letting dogs stay healthy. Same for the human body. That's what we do. We just discussed there's only one way the human body could ever work. How do we just keep it unrestricted and unaltered? And that's what we do for dogs. There's only one way the dog is going to just naturally operate the best, eating the way that it's going to naturally eat, staying hydrated the way it's going to naturally do that, and, you know, just being a dog. Well, let's give all the information that we can after we learn all that we can, and then after we do that, continually deepen our understanding of these things on how to let dogs stay natural. We'll call it In The Image Clothing Company Poodles. We'll put it under 1/4 of In The Image Clothing Company as a whole. And we'll have a lot of people be able to involve themselves. We'll do things for the environment. We'll do things for every breed of dog across the earth through all the information we give freely and the products that we have for sale. We'll get into nature with God's beautiful state of Utah. We live up Utah under In The Image Clothing Company. That's what I've been saying. That's what we'll say. That's what it is, because I love it here so much. I'm not leaving Utah. We will have our actual building here in Utah where we, you know, are located, centralized, shipping our products out of, having the poodles in. It won't be an actual storefront where you come to purchase things out of, but so much video will be had here that everybody across the whole earth has the ability to see through the internet in modern 2025 and going forth. So these are a lot of the reasons why poodles specifically. And I know that I say it, and I'm gonna say it right now. Before you get offended, I'll explain. I say a mutt is a mutt, and I'll say that if and where I do going forth, because we advocate for proper breeding. Mixed dog breeds can have a lot of complications come from them. You can have very intentionally mixed dogs as well. You can have very healthy mixed dog breeds when it's done properly. But sometimes I say it like that and so harsh to kind of like get it into people, for them to be like, well, why are you saying this? Because it offends a lot of people if you were to say a mutt is a mutt and they have a mixed dog breed, which is what that means. And then from there they'll be like, why is he saying this? And then you can come see why. It's because we advocate for proper breeding, registering dogs, right? so we can follow the genealogy of dogs and keep dogs healthy. That's the reason, is the health and the temperament of the dog. That's the actual reason why I would ever say a mutt is a mutt. Anything else that comes with it as well, but that's the root reason why we want to have purebred dogs. And that's something that you just can't deny with poodles, is they just look so proper. Like I mentioned with poodle posture, they stand so proper. They walk so light. They just look like they're like well done, right? Like God made a good decision creating poodles as a breed. Do you see what I mean? Yeah, that's one of the big things with poodles is they give off this like lightness. People have bad views on dogs. They think dogs are just mean and they tear things up and they just bark and they're annoying and they aren't obedient, because some people's dogs are like this. That's why we advocate for being a good owner of dogs and explain how to do so. The shadow is creeping in from this pole as the sun's moving. But we have poodles as one of the reasons being, you can tell how lighthearted a poodle is, how loving a poodle is just by looking at it. You don't even need to know much about dogs, but they're just so inviting and they're so attentive with the eye contact they give and with the way they understand people, even those people who don't really like dogs so much because of whatever the reason is. When they see a poodle, I'm not trying to compare dog breeds necessarily, but you can tell a difference between a lot of other dog breeds and poodles in this dog looks happy, it looks inviting, it looks gentle, and it doesn't look like it's this scary big dog when little kids might have been scared of big dogs, or anybody in life is scared of a big dog. Poodles are big, standard size are, but they're very, very, very gentle. Again, every dog could have its own very specific personality, but there's just so much we do, and poodles are the avenue for us as In the Image Clothing Company to just settle in. They mesh with us. As I've said, the poodles themselves will always be just as much team members as our human being team or employees of In the Image Clothing Company, because it bleeds over. We've got In the Image Clothing Company poodles, but we'll have poodles on all four sides of In the Image Clothing Company through the information we give and in the things that we do in our videos and in the discussions we have, and just really helping a lot of people across the earth, okay? So thank you. This is where I'll leave this. Just remember, I'm not going anywhere. It's not like I just have this one piece of information and I'll never discuss much more of this again, and then you can just maybe buy products if you'd like. You can fill out an application for a poodle puppy if you'd like, which will have a very strict screening process on who the dogs go to, the poodle puppies, because we need them to stay there for life and be treated very, 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 very well. That's not how this will be, is like some distant thing. As I say, In the Image Clothing Company, that's what I mean by involve yourself. Yes, personally, if you can or choose to, come to our events in the state of Utah, the United States of America, Poodle Parade events, but also just, we do so much through the gift of video. I mean, it will be just crazy the amount that we'll be able to be known, not for our sake, but for the sake of spreading our truth. Not, yikes, not our truth. There's only truth. It's apart from all of us. That's what I mean. Spreading the truth through what we can do through the gift of video, because it's an avenue to share things with everyone that could ever just look up our 5-word name as a whole, In the Image Clothing Company, and then find In the Image Clothing Company poodles. So as we do all that we do, we will really, really, really be benefiting lives. I'm not trying to compare or talk down on others, but just again, for context, we're not just here to sell puppies for an income. That will be one of the ways we have income, and that is one thing that we do. And yes, I mean, that's a big part of what we do. But yeah, but all the things that I've said in this, these sprinklers are telling me, I guess, that it is time to cut this. because they're coming all the way over here. So there you go. Just know, I mean, just expect it. I think that's the big thing. I'm not making claims. I know I've spoken so much about what and who we are under In The Image Clothing Company up until today's date, the 8th of October, 2025, because it's been a little over a year since I founded In The Image Clothing Company. And as of now, I've said so much that we haven't done yet, as if we're just doing it because I'm in this for life. And so that's what I'm saying. Just know I was saying all this for a reason, and it will line up. It will make sense. You'll see it. These aren't claims. These are prefaces. I'm introducing things to come. I'm giving context and documentation so we can look back when the things are here, when we are doing these things. That is the reason for all these documentations and all of these videos at the founding, before we're ever actually doing a lot of the things that I'm saying that we do. So just know it. Just know it. Don't believe me. Truth is truth. If the things that we talk about work, they work. Don't just believe me, Evan Strong, as the founder, or anybody in the Image Clothing Company's team on any information we give. But if you try it and it works, truth is truth. It's apart from all of us. It just is what it is. And we're all who we are. We're all designed in the image of God, Jesus the Christ. We're all the same. Dogs are all, in most every way, the same as far as the information on letting dogs stay natural, physicality-wise, other than temperament, right? That's specific to breeds and individuals in the ways that it is. Just know we give information because it will work. If we don't have information that will be benefiting and working and be universal and be important enough to even say, then we wouldn't be saying anything as In The Image Clothing Company. So there you go. Take it with a grain of salt. Don't just blindly say what we do or believe what we say is best, but we have experience, we have understanding in the things we talk about. We have reasons why we say them, or we wouldn't be saying anything. We're not just here to blabber on and try to give information that we think might be cool or we want to be important. But there's only truth in life. There's just God who designed all this. There's only one way the dog can operate the best. There's only one way the human being can as well. And we just try to get down to that and give information on how to let that be the case. And through all of it, we discuss the gospel of Jesus Christ. Through all of it, we have beautiful relationships with our dogs and deepen the understanding of how to let that be the case, and a lot more. I'll say it like that, because we are In The Image Clothing Company, big, and I know my claims, if you want to call them that, are big, but just stick around. Don't believe it, just wait, right? It reminds me of what Bruno Mars said in his song, "Don't believe me, just watch." Don't just take my word for things. Don't. Please do not. I'm asking you to not, actually. But listen to what we say, and if there's truth within it, there you go. Okay? So, thank you, and a third. These poodles will be so amazing, so beautiful. You will see me, Evan Strong, for the rest of my life, just about always, with a poodle. And there's a lot of reasons as to why. And really, there wouldn't even need to be any other reason except I'd want a poodle as a companion. But then all that we do through it is a lot. Okay? So thank you. I am trying to pray through this and not cut it premature. I said this is where I'll leave this like a half hour ago, give or take. But praying through it. State of Utah. Come hang out. Shoot. Nature. We've got snow. We've got snow. I don't know why that hit me, but we do. We have snow. Here's the sprinklers for right here. In the winters, we get snow. If we still do poodle parade events, just know we get snow. It gets cold. It gets very cold. We have proper winters here. But then our summers are very hot. It's a dry desert. Even when there's snow, it's still very dry air. Yeah, okay. Just know. Check us out. Check out scheduling in InTheImageClothingCompany.com. I'll cut this before I end the camera get wet. So, thank you.